It's the hat. It has to be the hat. It absolutely has to be the hat. Mariners win 5-1. They take the first of the four-game series against the Houston Astros. They improved to 3-1 on the road trip, and they're 43-43 on the season. Let's talk about how it happens. Eugenio Suarez scorches a home run to left to score Jared Kelnick to make it 2-0. J.P. Crawford homers to right center, 371 feet. He got a lot of it. 3-0 Mariners into the third. Cal Raleigh singles in Eugenio Suarez, who just had a absolute monster of a game to make it 4-0. And let's see. I think the Astros scored the run in the seventh as well. Corey Julks doubles home Yainer Diaz. Just those two names right now tell you that the Astros are not the same as they are last year. All due respect to that team. And then Eugenio Suarez, for the first time this year, homers twice in the same game to make it 5-1. Any real negatives to talk about tonight? Teoscar struggled, although he's been drawing a lot of walks lately, which is great to see. Well, a lot comparatively, right? He struggled. Ty France struggled, although he did make a nice little pick on a play by J.P. Crawford, who also had an excellent game today. Mike Ford struggled before being kicked out. The strike zone today was once again terrible. Give me those robots. Give me those robots. And Jose Caballero struggled a little bit too. Julio had a couple of tough at bats as well. Did get the infield hits, but not his best game by any stretch of the imagination. It was really the tale of just a couple of offensive players playing well. I will give credit to Ronel Blanco. I thought he pitched pretty well. Made one mistake to Suarez, and even the Crawford homer wasn't a horrible pitch, but caught too much of the plate. Outside of that, I thought he pitched pretty well. We will give credit to other people. There's lots of positives tonight. George Kirby wasn't as good as his line suggests of 6 2/3 innings of one-run baseball, but he was solid. And he battled. A lot of times you hear people say he battled, and it's code for he wasn't very good. But he tried. I think this was a good case. Kirby did not have his best stuff, and he didn't have his best command either. Of course, his one walk should have been a strikeout. I could go on. Yep. But he had to work through this, and he made some key pitches. Got a big double play. It was far from his best game, but you'll take 6 2/3 innings and giving up just the one run every time. You don't really care about really how it looks, right? You'd like to see him pitch a little better. That's just me personally. Like the ultimate takeaway was George Kirby was just fine tonight. Was it 7 innings of one-run baseball basically? No. I mean, if you the eye test doesn't tell me he did that, but who cares? He got the job done, and he's gotten the job done a lot this year. That's why he's going to be pitching in the All-Star game in a couple of days. Great job by Mike Brash coming in and getting that strikeout. Andre Munoz, like that they did have to go to Seawald after getting the extra run. I will say it's ridiculous that managers manage games based on a stat on a baseball card. Like, it doesn't become a save situation, so you don't use another long tangent to go on some other day. But Topa, as he's done most of the year, gets the job done. Offensively, I mean, let's talk about Eugenio Suarez for the next hour and a half. Fantastic game from him. Great to see the power starting to show up again. Like, look, he's still only slugging 383. And with the 2 homers, he's on pace to hit right around 20 homers on the season, give or take. But this has been one of the best power hitters in baseball when healthy for the last 6 years, something like that. At least the last 5. He has some of the best raw power in the sport. It just hasn't shown up this year. And look, he's been warning tracked a little bit this year. He's had a couple taken away from him this year. But 383 slugging percentage just doesn't get the job done when you're not a guy who is a big contributor with the average or a big contributor with, like, he's never going to be a 100-watt guy. Like, I'm looking at his Savant page, and these are results. It's not necessarily predictive. It's what's happened so far. But he's barreling the baseball in the 80th percentile of all hitters, which to me tells me that the slugging should start coming. Expected slugging percentages in the 73rd percentile. I'll give you what exactly that number is. And for those curious, expected slugging percentage is based on how hard you hit the baseball, what you expected to slug. It's 459, which is 70 points higher than what he's doing right now, even with those 2 homers. It's very reasonable to expect Eugenio Suarez to see the power numbers go up considerably over the next, what is it, 2.5 months, 3 months, 3 months. And he's been fantastic at third base this year, too. Flawed player for sure. Also seems like he's super old. He's only 31. He should be in his prime right now, you know. I think Eugenio Suarez is going to be really good in the second half of the year. Cal Raleigh reaching 3 times. It's great to see. He's looked so much better since having a little bit of a sit. It was interesting. We talked on the radio today on Molly Watt Monday about whether or not Tom Murphy should be the starting catcher. And I get it. Tom Murphy's been better with the bat than Cal Raleigh is this year. He's been on a super hot run lately too, which is great to see. I'm not complaining about it whatsoever. Cal Raleigh is a much better defensive player than Tom Murphy and a much better framer. And unfortunately, framing matters an awful lot right now. It shouldn't. It shouldn't, but it does. Oh, so yeah, I do think Cal Raleigh should be playing more than Tom Murphy. But as I said on the radio, Tom Murphy needs to be your designated hitter against left-handed pitching. And I think he will be. The problem with that, of course, is you take the risk if you have to pinch run for either one, or goodness forbid there's an injury, you have to pinch run, or either way. That's just spewed a whole bunch of nonsense. If one of them has to leave the lineup and they're the designated hitter, you lose your DH. That's not great. So ideally, you'd have a third catcher on this roster. Somebody who could catch, play, what they were hoping Cooper Hummel was going to be to start the year, right? That didn't work out so well. But yeah, Tom Murphy needs to be in the lineup against left-handed pitching every single game, whether that's giving Big Dumper a rest. And I'm not saying that Cal Raleigh can't hit lefties, for the record. I think he can. He was good against them last year. He didn't get as much of a chance, but he was good against them last year. He's a young player. But you need Tom Murphy's bat in the lineup against lefties. Be it as the DH, be it as the catcher and giving Dumper a day off or two. He's got to be in there. JP Crawford was fantastic today. You know, he only reaches the 2 times, but played a really nice defensive game, which is nice to see. I will be honest with you. Crawford's defense for most of the year has been overrated, to say the least. At best, is what I should say. But he played a really good defensive game today. No complaints. None whatsoever. Great to see him driving the baseball. Slugging percentage is now over 400. Now, a little bit darning with faint praise. Over 400 slugging percentage is nothing to write home about. But I'll take it, especially when you're getting on base like he is too. Really, really strong first half for him. You could argue, I think, that JP Crawford is the MVP of this team. I think you could do that pretty easily. I think that's a little sad. I think that's a little sad, but it's not just darning with faint praise here. Crawford's been a legitimately good baseball player for most of the year. That defense needs a lot of work, but tonight was good. Tonight was good. This has been fun. These last 5 or 6 games or whatever the heck it is, certainly the last 4 of the last 5 anyway, or 5 of the last 6. Numbers. Math is hard. I'm tired. It's been fun to watch this team play up to its best. It has been, for sure. These are big wins. These are big wins. This is Houston is a chief competitor of you. Winning 3 of 4 would just feel so good. Because if you win 3 of 4, you guarantee. So if you win 2 of the next 3, you guarantee that you go in to the second half of the season with a winning record. And is there a huge difference between 44 and 45 and 45 and 44? Absolutely not. But doesn't one make you feel a whole heck of a lot better about yourself than the other? Come on. Of course it does. Of course it does. You've got a great shot, especially when you win that first one. When you win that first game of the series, you really control whether or not you're going to have a chance for something good. Even if you lose the next 2, you get the chance to salvage the split in the final game. That's awesome. That is awesome. And, the Mariners have dug themselves quite a hole. There's no question about that. But a split in Houston ain't a bad thing. Not at all. But now we can be aggressive. Now we can be greedy. Now we can hope for a little more. And, Houston is not Houston. We talked about it earlier. Like the Corey Julks driving in Yainer Diaz is good players. I mean, players you want on a 40-man roster, players you probably want on a 25-man roster, 26-man roster, excuse me. But they're not necessarily the guys you want hit in the middle of your order or near the top of your order in some cases that Houston has that are just not up to their usual standards. Altuve's out, Jordan's out. He's dealt with a ton of pitching injuries. They're not the same team, and I am at the same time. You shouldn't care even a little bit. Not even a smidgen should you care. They've beaten up on a lot of injured teams in their past, and if they have to deal with that, so be it. It's what baseball is hard. Baseball is hard. So tomorrow, Friday, we have Luis Castillo against Hunter Brown. That's a fun little pitching matchup. Brown has showed some real flashes. Real flashes. For a little bit there, looked like maybe the Rookie of the Year favorite. Not going there anymore, but he's good. He's good. Can definitely miss bats. Control, has its moments of not being so good, but it's made some significant improvements. Wouldn't shock me if he's their ace someday. Would not at all. Got hit pretty hard by Texas in that last outing on Saturday. 10 hits. But he's got a little bit of a rotating bad with good thing going on. And unfortunately, last time was bad. So we'll see what he's this time. But I like the Mariners' chances a lot. I like my chances. Even though Luis Castillo struggled in the early innings of the last few, anytime Luis Castillo's on the mound, I feel real good. Real good. Just had a flashback to how good he was in game 2 of the ALDS. Oh, he's fantastic. One Jordan Alvarez on a great pitch. But he does. Why would I do that to myself? Apparently, this ugly hat, while it does make the Mariners win, doesn't keep me from flashing back to terrible moments. Please hit like and subscribe. We are so close to 500. I would so appreciate it if we could get to 500 by the end of the week, by the end of this first half of the season. It would be wonderful. And just 20 people. Come on. Whatever it is. I'd so appreciate if you told your friends, if you told anybody and said, hey, this is fun. This idiot goes on and recaps every single Mariner game and talks for 15 minutes to himself. It's hilarious to watch. He's got this weird thing on the side of his face that sometimes people ask him about, but not right now. What a weirdo. But yeah, please subscribe. Please hit like. All that good stuff. It's really appreciated. It really helps. use the word really too often. I really do. But I I just would appreciate your support so much and already appreciate your support so very much. One other thing real quick. I'm going to be going to the Futures game. I splurged and bought a ticket for myself on Saturday. I'm going to be sitting in a section that it won't have a lot of access to, but if you would like to come say hi, my DMs on Twitter, even though I don't look at the thing very often, are open. And I think I'm going to head to Jimmy's on first before the game, like right around 1 o'clock. So, maybe we could have a little Mile Y meetup. Be fun. Be really fun. I'd love to see some folks. Follow me on Blue Sky if you have that. Crawford Chris V, Sports Sometimes Podcast, and the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast, which I host every single weekend. This was fun. This was a great win. These last few games, even with the disappointment of Thursday's game, or excuse me, Wednesday's game, have felt really good. I'm getting the vibes back, baby. And I love to see it. And you know what? It's because of the hat.